Hello, welcome to Problem Solving and Computing, Lesson 5, Inputs and Outputs. So, if you're in class, we are going to have, I'll try again. Hello, and welcome to Problem Solving and Computing, Lesson 5, Inputs and Outputs. Today, we are going to work on how do we give computers information and how does it give information back? What does it look like? So imagine you are going to recommend a pet to somebody. What are three questions you would ask them to help make that recommendation? So I want you to sit and think about three different questions. You cannot ask them, what pet do you want? What are three things you might need to know about somebody to make a good recommendation? Think about this now. All right, so what were your questions? Did you have questions like, are you allergic to pet fur? Or are you busy? If I am never home, then maybe having a very active dog isn't the best pet for me. If I am allergic to cat fur, the cat is probably not going to be the best pet for me. If I'm a very busy teacher who is home, uh, no, this is not going to work. Let's try again. Problem solving and computing, lesson 5, inputs and outputs. If you were absent or if you just need a review, then you are in the right place watching this video. In class, we did an activity. Imagine that you are going to recommend a pet to someone. What are three questions you would ask them to help make that recommendation? No, you are not allowed to ask them, what pet would you like? I want you to think about this for a minute and write down three questions that you think would be good to ask somebody. Some people in class had questions like, are you allergic to pets? Or are you home very often? Or do you want a pet that requires a lot of maintenance? Those are great questions. I want you to make sure that the questions you had are relevant and would help you make a good decision on what that recommendation should be. So if you have the opportunity, if somebody else is around, try it. Ask them the questions and see what recommendation you come up with and see if that's a recommendation they would like. All right, so we're focused on inputs and outputs. Inputs, the information computers get from users, devices, or other computers. I literally want you to take your hands and push them towards your computer. Okay? Push them towards your computer. The information a computer gets. We are putting the information into the computer. Maybe you have your keyboard in front of you. We're putting the information into the keyboard. So input is when we are putting the information, or another source is putting the information into the computer that we are using. Output, the information computers give to users, devices, or other computers. So once again, put your hands in front of you. This time put them towards the computer screen and pull them back. And output, you are getting information out of the computer. It is what the user is getting back. Okay? So the screen is showing outputs. All right. How do computers use inputs and outputs to get and give the information that they need to solve problems? So we are going to go over to our apps in code.org. And the first app is going to be the Pet Chooser. We just did an exercise like this. So you're going to click on the button on the bottom. If you don't actually have code.org, you can just watch. We're going to run through each of these programs. Click Start. Are you allergic to pet fur? I'm just going to pick some answers. Do you want creepy or cute? Let's go with creepy for fun. Do you want a pet to play? Do you want to play with the pet? Well, yes, yeah, I want to be interactive. A tarantula. Interesting pet choice. So, based on those questions, that's what it's going to recommend. If you have access to code.org right now, go ahead and run through a few yourself. If not, I'm going to redo this. Are you allergic to pet fur? I'm going to put yes this time. I'm going to put cute this time. Should the pet be noisy? I'm going to say no. Okay, now I got a goldfish or a betta fish. So we got this beta fish, doesn't have a lot of maintenance. Let's do another. Let's say no. Do you like going outside? Yes, I love going outside, and I'm going to go with the crowd. So now I got a little puppy. All right, so you see how that works. Now go over to your worksheet. The first thing, if you are in my class, that you are going to do on your worksheet is what? Put in your name, your class period, which is most likely 6 dash, and then you're either going to put a 1 or 2, and the date. I'm not actually going to put in a date, but I'm putting in the word date. You put in whatever today's date is. All right, we have our definitions for input and output. Pet chooser, we tried it a few times. What are the inputs? So what are the inputs that we're putting in here? Let's think first, what are we using to put the information in? We're not using the keyboard, we're using a mouse, or you might be using a touch screen. So we hit run, start. What information are we putting in? Are you allergic to pets? If I put yes, I am using my mouse, which is helping me put in the input, to click yes. I'm not typing in words. I am answering its questions. So the user responses, not the questions, but the user responses to the questions are inputs. If you look here, I only have 2 choices. Now the choice is not always yes or no. I only have 2 choices. So my response to the yes or no question by clicking the mouse would be an input. Or my response to, let's say it's not a yes or no question, a this or that question would be the input. So go over to your worksheet. We're going to put user responses. We're going to put the mouse. Or if you were using a touchscreen, you could put touchscreen. If you want to be more specific, you could put user responses to this or that questions. Now, it's not the actual questions. It is your responses or the user's responses to those questions. I know I keep saying that because that is very important. All right, outputs. So if we're looking at this app, our output for this, no, a hamster is not what I'm looking for the answer. What is the general output? What is the purpose of this app? It is giving me a, if you said recommendation, that's right. So a pet recommendation. All right, a pet recommendation. How is it giving me this output? I want you to put your hands up towards the screen again. And remember, output is the information it's giving you. How is it giving me this output? What do you see here on the screen? And no, I'm not talking about just a hamster. How is it showing you this hamster? Right here, what is this? Pause and think about it. All right, if you said a picture or an image, you are right. It is showing us a picture or an image on the screen. What do you see right here? Words. It's also showing us with words. So over here, let's fix that. We could put image. We could put words. That is what it is showing us on the screen. The screen is a large output source, or if you're on a phone, a small output source. But the screen is showing you, it is giving you information. Let's go ahead and go to the next app, the Story Creator. Now try the Story Creator a few times. What are the inputs and the outputs? So we're going to go to the next app. And we have the Story Creator. So let's look. Fill in the blank to create a custom story. Run. All right. Yes, we need to use our mouse to click on the right spot, or if it's a touchscreen, to touch it. But now what are we using to put in the information? You're probably typing on it. If you said keyboard, you're right. Now, if you are doing this yourself, well, dang it. Okay, let's try this again. All right, now we have the Story Creator. Fill in the blank to create a custom story. So before we were just using the mouse or to the touchscreen, and you still need to use it to click on something. But let's try this one more time. All right, the story creator. Fill in the blank to create a custom story. So if you haven't already, hit run if you're doing this yourself. And we're going to put in a bunch of information using what? You said your keyboard, you're right. So we are using our keyboard as a source to input the information. So let's put in a name. All right, you do not have to put in your actual name. You can put in any name. And then let's pick a color. Let's go with blue because it's there. Food. I don't want to go with food, an apple. I want to go with pizza. Emotion. Let's go with happy. And city. Let's go with Wilmington because that's where we are. All right. Do we want a sci-fi story or a Western story? You are going to choose by inputting that information into the app. I'm going to go with a sci-fi story. Once there was an alien named Grant who wanted to take over the Earth. It came down and started shooting blue lasers everywhere, but soon it got hungry and decided to stop for pizza. It suddenly became happy and realized it could never destroy a planet with such deliciousness. So Grant decided to move to Wilmington and eat pizza every day. All right, let's go to our worksheet. Inputs. This time we didn't just put in yes, answers to yes or no responses. What did we use? We used the keyboard to input words. I'm having an off day typing, but that's okay because we're going to get through this. All right, so we're using the keyboard. We're putting in words. If you could also put user responses because it is asking us for specific types of words. Okay. Outputs. This one I would be very happy even just with one single response. What is it outputting? Pause it and think about it for a minute. You said a story? You're right. It is outputting a story. If you want to be more specific, you could say a story using the user's responses. But I'm perfectly happy with just a story. That's what the computer's given back to us. All right. If you're in my class, we're going to temporarily skip over these two sections. All right, we're going to the improved pet app. Let's go over to the improved pet app. All right. Looks very similar to what we did before, but now notice on the screen, there's a new button. Let's click it. It says find it. What does it now show us? Closest pet shop, downtown pets and more. 1584 Maple Street, open now. All right, so our new and improved pet app gives us the location. I want you to pay attention to this word right here that I'm circling with my mouse. That's a very important word. All right, let's go over. What inputs did the user put in? Well, let's think about this. We put in the same inputs that we put in when we did the pet choosing part. So you could actually use these same responses that you put in down here. All right, phone sensor. Now, apps get information from other things than just users. Okay? So if I have my phone, I want you to think about it. When you carry your phone, where is it usually? Okay. What information could a sensor on your phone be giving the app to help you find your pet, to find the pet it recommends? What information? Okay. So you are going to answer this one on your own. And then the internet. What information was the internet? And look at the screen. And as I said, this is a very important word. What information is the internet inputting into the app? So we're focused on what information is being putted into the app? What's this from these sources? So we talked about the user, the phone. Think about it. When you have your phone and you're using your phone, where is it normally? And the internet. All right. Then I want you to go up here and we have other inputs. So we looked, there are other sources other than the user where apps can get information from. Okay. What other sources are there? Let's think about if you want to know what the weather is. What kind of technology could be used to find that information? The app we use might check a radar in order to get the information for the weather and then output it to you. Okay, so the radar is the information from the radar is being inputted into the app so that it can then give you the information. Think, do you by any chance have an outdoor thermometer that you can read inside? How would that work? Go ahead and try and think of a few ideas on your own. Lastly, you are going to come up with your own app idea. Eventually, this is going to lead to a app project. That is our big project for the 9 weeks. So what does your app do? The app that you want to create, it needs to be created to help somebody. Okay? So this is an app that's going to help somebody or a specific group of people. What it does, you're going to give me a description of what it does. Now, you do need to get approval from your teacher before you start doing your app. What inputs does it need and what outputs does it need? Okay? And under your app idea, how could you use other sources of inputs to improve your app idea? So other than the user, what other sources could help improve that app? Okay? All right. I hope to see you back in class soon. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time.